NCSoft just completed their first quarter conference call, and we got a few bits of TL information out of it. First, they officially confirmed that the launch is not until the second half of 2023, which is something by now we had all pretty much assumed. And they said that the Korean CBT later this month has been expanded to 10K players. Not sure what they mean by that, because before it was 5K players and you could invite one friend, which would have made it a maximum of 10K. I assume what they mean is now 10K and you can invite one friend, and that could be up to 20K players. Let's listen to what they said about that.
This year, we plan to bring to market new global titles, including TL, in the second half of the year. As per the recent announcement, we plan on running CBT closed beta test of TL against 10,000 users, which is not much different to a full-fledged service level. We therefore look forward to your interest and participation, as our intent is to do a final check on the game and fully open and share in advance diverse array of content from TL. With the start of CBT, TL will begin its race for a rollout, and while that's ongoing, we will come back with more news to share. Now, TL, you mentioned TL as well. So, as you know, we are at this point coordinating the specific schedules with our global publisher, which is Amazon Games. And as you know, and as was announced or as was mentioned, basically our target is to release it in the second half of the year.
And then the second thing was their marketing activity plan, and basically they're going to be ramping up marketing. It sounds like fairly soon.
Now, regarding the launch schedule, currently what we are doing is we're working on to come up with a way that we could maximize the impact of this new release across the global markets. So currently the marketing activity plan is being very thoroughly being prepared for us to achieve that objective. And we will be able to, in the very near future, hold a separate event where we will disclose and open up the actual schedule for this game title so that we could better help the market to understand how things would go.
And then the third thing was they basically confirmed global testing is on the way, and they're going to hold some sort of event to announce that fairly soon.
So NCSoft, together with Amazon Games, are going to engage in very active marketing activities, including global tests as well as global showcase, and the relevant schedules will be opened sequentially. So to answer your question, as you know, we divide up our areas into Area 1 and 2, and in Area 2, Amazon Games is our global publisher, and they're at this point making preparations for a separate global test, and related information will soon be announced.
The fourth thing was some closed beta details. So for this Korean closed beta, they are going to be testing monetization, which is an interesting thing. So they're going to be providing players with the in-game currencies so they can actually make purchases in the store. And their plan is to aim for the same business model in both versions, which I found interesting. So let's listen to what they said here.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Seon Park, for that question. We are at this point planning on a closed beta test to last from May 24th to the 30th, and we will be conducting the CBT against expanded 10,000 users. During this 1 week period, we will be providing all of the available content that the gamers could actually play, which will be on par with a full-fledged service level. And the reason why I tell you that, I will explain. Now, if you look at our previous global launches, the BEMs, even if they are the same for Korea and the Western world, we were able to drive same level of revenue. And this time, the reason why we're conducting this test at this scale is that we will be providing the users with the in-game currencies, and they will actually be able to experience direct purchases of the in-game merchandises. And by doing that, we will be able to check on the feasibility of the game business model, and based on the feedback that we receive from the users, we will be able to maximize and scale up the level of completeness of this game title. And in so doing, we will also be able to secure an avid fandom of TL and also really activate the user community.
And then they said that they want to have a similar game across all regions. At least that's how I took this comment.
So just to provide a direct answer to the question that you raised, Mr. Park, basically our servicing approach and stance will be the same and identical across all of our global areas. And due to the characteristics of the global market, we have adopted a more universal monetization strategy, and looking at and comparing basically the revenue curve that we will see, unlike the other mobile games where the revenue curve is very much focused, the curve is very much initial focus on the front part in terms of the amount of growth. Through this approach, we will be able to see a much more evened out, long-term, stable revenue curve. So in terms of the very specific product sales related aspects, after we open this through the CBT, we will be receiving feedback and will consider and reflect that in the game to follow.
And then they were asked about content specific for Western users, because Western users like different things than Eastern users, and this was their response.
Yes, I will focus on TL rather than Aeon 2. Our strengths, which is PvP content, we will continue to stick to that. On top of which, for our Western users, we will be providing and servicing various different PvE content as well. And to really help the global users to be much more appealed, we actually have in place narrative-based content, which can really appeal to our global user base. And for the games and instances where there will be a massive number of users playing together, we have really focused on improving on the action element and have come up with many different ways to further bolster that. So aside from Siege Warfare, we are offering various different playing elements, such as the individual players dungeon, guild raid, and world adventures or world explorations. And in the trailer, the Siege Warfares were very colorful and flamboyant, but the gameplay itself is going to be much more easier to maneuver. So because we are going to have more content that is community-based compared to just a player competition, I think that this is going to work as a new edge for us, competitive edge for us compared to our legacy game titles and our competing game titles in extending the life cycle of the game.
So basically, not a lot of new information. A lot of this we kind of knew or assumed. However, testing the monetization is interesting. Getting confirmation finally of a second half launch is nice finally. And if they are expanding the CBT, that is good as well. With that, guys, that's all I have for this video. Hopefully we get information on that global beta test here very soon. With that, guys, I'll see you in the next video.